Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday morning. It's the second day of July 2025. Yeah, when you're retired, you forget which day of the week it is. It is Wednesday, the second day of July 2025. This is the morning briefing. Looking at the window from the home weather office, blue sky, not much in the way of a breeze. It's a mild, warm morning. It's going to be a pretty warm day. We'll see valley temperatures at least into the mid-90s. Once again, like yesterday, there may be some spots up around 100 degrees. I'll show you more on that in a minute. Also talk about when we have the potential for some real July heat to come, but also have a wide array of things I'm going to talk about today. So bear with me. I found all sorts of different things to talk about today, and I'll try to get it all in. One of the nice things about this is there are no time limits. I don't have a producer in my ear saying wrap. Maybe I should. All right, what I'm going to start with is I'm sure by now you have seen the video of the fire and the explosions that happened yesterday evening at the fireworks facility in Esparto. KCRA had the helicopter over that yesterday and showed amazing video of it, but it also showed up on radar. So let me show you that. So this is a time lapse showing the time between about 4:30 and 7:30 or so. And here is Esparto. And as you can see, a lot of ground clutter in here. But then look at that. You can see the explosion when it happened right here. And then look what happened to the smoke plume drifting downwind and down to the south. And you can see that rather clearly all the way across the valley. But yeah, so the explosion did show up on radar, and then the ensuing smoke plume continued to come off of it. But really, that big explosion showed up rather nicely on the radar display. Rather impressive, but I mean the video looked very impressive. But yeah, I thought that might show up, and certainly it did. And of course, we see that with big fires, forest fires as well, with the smoke plumes showing up on radar. So I thought I'd show you that. Also going to show you the temperatures that we saw yesterday. I always like to look at this, just see how we did. Executive Airport yesterday in Sacramento hit 96. Stockton was missing, but was up around 100 degrees. Modesto did hit 100. But a couple of interesting things popped up here. Look at Travis Air Force Base, 91 degrees. Look at Vacaville, 105. So Travis and Vacaville, 91 and 105. One of the coolest spots in the valley, and then one of the hottest spots in the valley. And they're 7 miles apart. So what's going on here? I'm going to try to explain. So for that, let's go to Google Earth. And what I'm going to show you here is kind of an overview. We're looking from the west to the east, or actually a little bit more to the northeast. So here's Sacramento, there's the foothills. And we're going to focus on Travis Air Force Base and Vacaville and why we can have such a big difference. All right, so now as we back out here, keep in mind that we usually will have the marine layer along the coast, and then the onshore breeze comes inland, first through the Golden Gate, and then actually it goes through the Carquinez Strait right in here into Suisun Bay, because we have mountains here and we have mountains here. So because the colder air is lower, it goes right through the Carquinez Strait, which is right here. So it kind of gets funneled through, and because it's kind of like putting your thumb over the end of a hose, since it gets squeezed through, the onshore wind gets rather gusty. Now, here's Grizzly Bay, and here's Suisun Bay, and then right here at the end of it, you'll find Travis Air Force Base. Okay? And Travis Air Force Base, like I said yesterday, hit 91 degrees. Now, if you go just a little bit to the north from here, just a mere 7 miles away, you will find the Nut Tree Airport right here. Now, yesterday, the Nut Tree Airport went to 105. A couple of things you'll notice is, first, the Nut Tree Airport is surrounded by much more in the way of asphalt and concrete, as well as Interstate 80 and 505. So first off, this is going to be a much more industrial area and will probably most times end up to be warmer anyway, just because of its surrounding. I mean, you can see the amount of housing asphalt concrete around the Nut Tree Airport versus what we have over here at Travis Air Force Base, which is pretty much wide open, and especially from where the prevailing wind is from the southwest on a day like yesterday. But that's not the only reason that we are going to see a warmer temperature. Now, I can't totally prove this, but I believe this is what happens, because this happens far too often to just blame it on more concrete and that sort of thing. So if you look at the difference here, so here we have the onshore breeze going basically right up Interstate 80. But look at this little feature here. And if you drive Interstate 80 between Fairfield and Vacaville, you go over this mountain range. I believe it's this area of mountains that causes an eddy. Now, I can't find a weather model that will actually show this, because this is such a small mesoscale sort of feature that would be really tough to model. But what I believe happens here is we have a southwest wind going here, but this mountain range doesn't allow the southwest wind to be going here. So instead, what I believe happens is you end up getting an eddy. So you have fast flow here, you don't have fast flow here. And so what happens is, just like on the edge of a river, you'll get an eddy in here. So what you would end up with, instead of having the southwest wind here at the Nut Tree Airport, instead the eddy that is created is actually going to be creating a bit of a north wind here. So if I zoom out a little bit more, so just picture that your wind is going this direction and then coming back around in this direction. So there's a little eddy formed right here because of this little mountain range here. And so instead of getting cool air here, instead it's dragging warmer air in from the valley instead of the cooler air here. So it's just one of those odd little features. And again, I'd love to be able to model that completely, but that would take scientific instruments, and it also sound like work. But yeah, that's how I believe you can get 105 at Vacaville and 91 degrees at Travis. All right, so let's see what's going on today. Let's see what's happening. I gotta figure out where I put what. Okay, so here's the marine layer today, because, well, it's actually looking pretty good. Yesterday, it was around 1,200 feet, dipped down in the afternoon, and it occasionally bumps up. But with an onshore breeze being somewhat fickle today and again during the day tomorrow, we're probably not going to see much impact. So let's go through the day today. This is 5 o'clock today. Nice little onshore breeze, but areas from Sacramento to the north will still be very warm. We should see better cooling in San Joaquin County today than we saw yesterday, with those temperatures hitting 100 degrees. But still, I think before this happens, most spots will at least reach that 95 to 98 range today. Then during the day on Thursday, this little passing weather system that'll actually help to increase the onshore breeze much more through Sacramento County and up toward Butte County, as well as getting windy on the east side of the Sierra. And all of that's going to be caused by this little low that's going to go by. You can see it 500 millibars here, right here. This little feature goes by on Thursday, Friday, to make for Friday, the 4th of July, a pretty nice day. Temperatures maybe only in the mid to upper 80s, really comfortable. And actually, Thursday night, I know there are a lot of fireworks displays on Thursday night. That should be pretty comfortable. And then Friday during the day and Friday evening, also quite comfortable. Even through the weekend, while temperatures will rebound back into the 90s, we're okay. But now we're starting to see the rebuilding of the Four Corners High. And even though there's a trough here, this high is just kind of lurking out in here. And as we get into next Tuesday, Wednesday, yeah, the trough is now off the coast. The high has built in. Instead of the Four Corners high, now it's kind of a Phoenix, Lake Havasu high. And yeah, that could spell some temperatures that are pretty hot. Here we are. This is next Wednesday, Thursday. We could then start to see maybe our first 105s or so of the season. We'll nail down those temperatures, but the models have been pretty consistent with this, and this is now getting into the range of a 7-day forecast. And so next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that time frame, just be ready for some heat. Between now and then, not too bad, especially the 4th of July with some pretty reasonable temperatures. All right, let's see. Do I have... I did not call that up. I was going to call up in the National Hurricane Center. I did that on my other computer. But what I also wanted to point out here is there is a hurricane down here, Hurricane Flossie, as you can see here. And the moisture from that is going to stay to our south. But it does also look as though there are going to be more of these developing. They're a little bit farther to the south here. I work off two computers, so sometimes, I did put it up on this computer. Sometimes I forget what I put where. All right, so let's take a look at these through the water vapor. Like I said, I'm showing you a lot of stuff this morning. So here's Flossie here on the water vapor, and you can see the water vapor here stays to the south, maybe getting some of that into southern Arizona. And then here comes the next one right behind it. And again, a lot of that moisture gets into southern Arizona, maybe even into southern California. But that certainly helps to fuel the monsoon. So here goes that system. And then the next one behind it is right here. And then there's another one behind it. Now, all of this is on the GFS. We're talking out, 10 days and beyond. So it remains to be seen whether or not these things develop. But it is pretty cool to see these little tropical systems develop here. And the Pacific, very, very active so far in this hurricane season. The Atlantic, relatively quiet, but it's still very, very early in the season. So yeah, let's see. We talked about fireworks explosion. We talked about why there's a big difference between Fairfield and Vacaville for temperatures. Talked about the potential for some heat down the road, and also talked about hurricanes. Whole bunch of stuff to pick from this morning. But in the meantime, today, beautiful day. Get outside and enjoy it. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.